There's a world out there, it's a digital maze where dollars move in mysterious ways. Complex systems, rules, and regulations. The payments professor sparks revelations. No need to fear the Fed now.
Hey everybody, class is in session. The payments podium's getting started today, and we're going to talk about my favorite topic, instant payments. And to discuss instant payments today, I have Amita Choudhary with me, and Amita, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Thank you, Kevin. It's such a privilege being in your show. Thank you. And as you said, I'm also very passionate about instant payments. I'm one among the evangelists when the whole real-time payment thing started for US. I was pioneer in launching real-time rails with the clearinghouse and recently launched for FedNow and excited about the whole journey for US and Canada in real-time rails.
Okay, so we already know, obviously you're a payments expert. You've been working with RTP, been working with FedNow, but one of the things I love to ask people that come on the payments podium is, how in the world did you even get started with electronic payments? Because a lot of people like myself, when I was going to school, no, I didn't even know what electronic payments were. I had no idea I'd end up in this industry. So it's usually an interesting path to how you got here. So how did you end up in electronic payments?
Oh, that's an amazing question to talk about. My whole idea of getting into digitalizing payments. In the early start, I was helping my parents who ran a retail store, and payments was such a tough thing. People will come, negotiate, they will barter. I'm making boards for my parents, fixed price only, pay in cash. And that time I dreamed, how about there's an easy way of transactions where they get the full amount quickly without negotiations and easier, it shows in their bank account. And since then I tried. My early break in the career was more on the compliance and risk and controls. It was more of solving the problem or before the problem happens, but not in actual transactions monitoring. And then I got a break in. Fast forward 8 years, then I moved to city. I was working with payments, and then the dream came true where we were making the seamless payments via real-time rails with instant confirmation. My dad would have loved it. Now he doesn't have the store, but if he gets a real-time acknowledgement that the fund has been in his account and he can use it, that's a delight. And I feel as a merchant, as a retailer, that's the need of the hour. That's
Well, wait,
missing right now.
I heard you right. You got into payments because of your parents. That might be the first time somebody's given that answer.
Yeah, I have lots of friends also, my family. My husband is a is a consultant, full-time consultant, and he goes through the pain of waiting for the payroll to happen through a batch processing. And I keep talking about ask your employer, ask for real-time on-demand payouts. We are doing for corporates. Why can't you ask your employer? And he's like, that's not an option. I have to wait.
Agree, you got to ask and get all this. So that's what got you started in payments.
Mhm.
How did you end up in instant payments? What really attracted you to being working with FedNow and RTP?
So I was hired by Citi. I was working in Ontario lottery and gaming, which is a very fast moving cash forward industry. And I was doing part of the payments and also doing part of the compliance. And then I got this opportunity. I just jumped from OLG lottery and gaming to this because it was emerging side of it. It felt like being a startup in a regulated bank, bringing on new ideas, failing fast, improving, innovating. So it was an amazing journey, learning with the industry leaders and growing and also understanding what works and what doesn't work. So real time experience is what made me so much passionate about instant payments.
You know what I mean? And what I loved and what I heard in there is something new and different, and you saw it as exciting and engaging. And a lot of people I work with, they're afraid to try the new stuff or do something different. So I got to commend you on doing that. And for people listening, this is proof. If you go with the new stuff, sometimes it's a lot of fun and you get to learn a lot of new stuff. What in your early journey, what did you learn that was like, oh wow, I was surprised by that? Like, was there anything that I didn't expect that to happen? It made you look at things a different way or made you realize, hey, this is going to be a big success?
In the beginning, I felt we were providing the real time experience as per customer need, but with the old pipe, the old engine doing the real time thing, and the partner systems were not supporting. There were frequent downtimes. Client has issues because it didn't meet their expectation. And then we realized this will not help us. We need to improve our infrastructure. We rip the band-aid, we improve the infrastructure to be always on, very stable. Wherever we felt the issues with downtime, we try to have upfront processes to overcome that, and that helped. And you won't believe, post changing the infrastructure, the volume and the revenue grew. It grew exponentially. We got clients whom we lost in the past coming back to us. It's all because of the infrastructure upgrade we did. And I think industry also needs that. We
Okay,
see
I
smaller
got to
banks
stop
coming
you
in.
real quick. I heard you right because one of my good friends, Peter Tapling, he's always said it's the plumbing. That's all payments is it's the plumbing to move everything. And what happened with real time payments is you had to get new plumbing, you had to get the new
Hmm.
pipes. So it sounded like by making the investment in the infrastructure, you got a return on the investment. That's the part I really want to hit on. You got a return on investment because you made it to where it was a product and service people wanted. And I even heard too, you said people came back.
And now we are offering, the previous bank I worked with, we were not only offering payment rails or doing transactional fee, we are offering banking as a service, infrastructure as a service, risk and compliance as a service to these platform payments platform providers or the fintech partners. So overall, the customer experience is like though they are using the fintechs, it's going through the regulated rails through a FI, and even the scheme perspective, the participant is an FI, so it becomes more and more risk averse.
Well, another key word you hit on there too. I'm loving this. This is great. You talked about customer experience. I actually just recently did a session on customer experience with some people, and I explained it to them. You want exactly what you said. Your end user cares about the end result, not the processes in between.
Absolutely. No one wakes up and says, I want to do a payment. What they look forward is money is moved without any hassle, and I get a confirmation, and there's no dispute, there's nothing I have to follow up later.
I love that. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to make a payment. It's more like they wake up and like, oh, I got to make this payment. And we want to make it easier for them. Now, I know people who do wake up and be like, I hope I receive a payment. I hope I got money coming in. And even then, I want it to come as fast as possible.
Hmm. So I'm a very big advocate for integrating real-time payments with gig economy because my parents have been a gig worker, my husband is a gig worker, and my niece, who is in her teens, she's a budding influencer, and she also falls in the gig worker category. And for her, getting a payment real time is delight. And if it can happen through her social media handles, it can come to her wallet so that she can buy more products and make more videos. Those are the things I feel is missing. And that will be great if we can have that with real time payments, be it FedNow, be it Zelle, be it Venmo wallet, or be it any form of real time payment.
Now, okay, something that I hear a lot, and you just mentioned a lot of them. Do you ever think that maybe there's confusion in the market because there's so many different options? Or is the market better because there are so many different options?
Yeah, I can give you one example. In Canada, we have only two telecom providers and we struggle. We don't get best of the rates because there's almost a monopoly of two telecom providers. Whereas in US, there are so many providers, competition is great. Who gets the benefit? It's the customers who get the benefit because you get the best offers, competitive deals, and always there's a need of improvement and innovation. Same is with the payments. It will be so boring if there's only one provider and it goes with the slow pace of their roadmaps are not evolving. Whereas where there's competition, there's more innovations I have seen. What one thing I would have liked is more of interoperability between these competitors. So there's a value chain for everyone to grow.
Well, and to make sure that people listening do understand, RTP and FedNow do not work together. Totally separate networks, But what happens is because their networks, their platforms that are out there, anybody can get out there and start offering products and services on top of those networks, or to be the payment that goes through the proverbial plumbing. So is that what you mean when you talk about the competition? Is because the networks exist, it gives options for fintechs, for service
Mhm.
providers to offer options to make instant payments?
Yeah, you nailed it, Kevin. You are the expert. I learned so much from you. I see the market has a need, and also the two schemes should talk to each other. They have same message types, they have same kind of processing. If if I am a customer, I don't care where it's going through, TCH rails or FedNow rails. I want the transaction to happen. And when both the rails are talking to each other, then it becomes the reach becomes high, the adoption becomes high. With RTP, we have around 73% of market adoption. With FedNow, it's growing. But if both the schemes talk to each other, it will be more than 100% of adoption.
Well, I'm with you, but I also understand, like you just said it too, and I agree. Customer experience, they don't care. They just want
Hmm.
their payment to get to where it's going or be able to receive it. And you talk about the networks don't talk to each other, and I'll have some people point out, well, there's both sides of this. They'll say, like on the ACH side, the clearinghouse and the Fed do talk to each other for ACH exchange. But if you jump
Hmm.
over to wires, chips and Fedwire don't talk to each other. So, which one is it? I think in this case it would. It would definitely be beneficial if the two would talk to each other, and we would see more progression within the network. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I
Thank
think
you.
too, as people ask, would that slow down the payment if they talk to each other?
Absolutely not. The whole essence of real time payment is the speed. And now people don't talk about speed. It talks about the reshaping of liquidity, reshaping of compliance, reshaping of the customer experiences. So if customer is ready to pay the convenient fee, then no doubt the transactions will go faster and more secure and save everyone's extra effort, operational task or the headcounts required to do the reconciliation, do the compliances.
Well, you just listed off a bunch of benefits. I heard reconciliation, I heard compliance, I heard we got speed in there. I believe there's transparency in the payment taking place
Hmm.
too. And I also heard convenience fee. And I like to point out to people, it does depend on, like a lot of consumers may not be paying anything, but businesses will for all those benefits that we just mentioned that are up there and
Hmm.
available. And the fact that so much information can be sent along with the payment too.
You're 100% right with ISO 20022. It's data rich, literally data rich. I work with Swift and then I work with ISO 2002. There are thousands and thousands of tags. If you hear from open banking and all, it's very helpful to move towards ISO 2002 with the amount of data it has on remittance.
Okay, after talking about all the benefits of instant payments, which I'm a super huge fan, there's no doubt about it, I want to ask you something a little harder. We've seen a lot of political changes that are affecting banking right now. And I mean, it's a long list. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative. All of it is just point of view. I will concede to that real quickly. But I look at things like the Genius Act and stablecoin, some of the other things that are happening to where fintechs are being allowed to do a lot more too. Do you think that any of that is going to slow down instant payments or slow down the growth of the instant payments that we've been seeing? And I mean, we've been seeing dramatic growth. So do you think it's going to have an impact, derail it, stop it, or anything like that?
It's an enabler, the Genius Act or the discussion in G20. It doesn't say real time payments should stop. It's not talking about real time payments only be domestic. It's talking about real time payments also be cross border. And if you see, the TCH RDP is already talking about one leg out. The scheme in Canada, RTR, is starting with cross border transactions. With Fed now, maybe once they see how the market goes and there's more controls in place, then they may also support cross border. So I think it will be a competitive offering. It will not be we are competing against stablecoin. It's like the evolution, how the dinosaur age changed and now we became human. Similarly, the payments will become real time, cross border, going to international corridors. It's already happening in APAC. And very much needed in the whole world.
I was going to ask you, where do you see the future? And you answered the hard question and included what the future is going to be, because I totally agree with you. We're seeing the numbers are soaring as far as the
Hmm.
transaction volumes, the dollar volumes. It is more than a hockey stick. I say it's, a vertical takeoff that we're seeing happening. And people out there, you should get involved because it is what's happening next. You
Hmm.
mentioned, there's the international aspect. Well, it's not there today, at least the time of this recording. Things can change.
Hmm.
That RTP and FedNow, they are domestic only. There is the potential for it to grow. And I kind of want to lead into something else that I see that's happening is the fraud aspect. People want
Hmm.
to make sure that we control the fraud, because when I say it's happening, I want to say this. It's controlling the fraud, not actual fraud. At least not yet. We haven't seen much fraud at all on the instant networks. And what do you think is going to happen as far as fraud controls? I mean, Fed's done a lot. The clearinghouse
Hmm.
has done a lot. How do you see that evolving and growing?
Yeah, you are right. The fraud is in basis points, but still lots of initiatives are there on fraud monitoring. I was talking with Fed. It was not about fraud reporting, it's the upfront monitoring. And you see the scammers are getting smarter and smarter with smarter real-time payments. So we have to be evolved. We have to advance our algorithms for fraud protection, fraud monitoring, and then again a partnership is required. It's not like only Fed doing, only TCHRDP doing, only the banks doing. It's a partnership so that as a whole we can mitigate fraud.
Okay, one last thing I got to ask about
Mhm.
is, where is there going to be growth in the networks? Because people are always asking, hey, who's using it? What are the use cases? What's going to really make it to where RTP and FedNow take off and grow? What area should people, or what things should people be looking at for there to be growth within the networks?
My personal feeling is the tipping point will be when more and more retailers start using at point of sales or collecting through their merchant or doing their supplier payments via real-time rails. And for that, the retailers need to be incentivized. There should be something for them to move away from more paying infrastructure to account based real time payments. Maybe come up with some gamification, some incentivization to retailers so that the payment acceptance happens at scale. The moment the payment acceptance happens at scale, the tipping point will happen and we will see the volume and value grow.
I couldn't agree more. Well, Amita, I want to thank you for coming on today just to give, some of your opinions, your thoughts and views on RTP and FedNow. Are there any closing comments that you want to make to leave our listeners with on what they should be looking for when it comes to FedNow, when it comes to RTP? Any last comments?
Kevin, I was a strong believer by 2035 everything will become real time payments. Now I'm changing my statement. I feel by end of 2029 things will change. Seeing the quarterly results of all both the schemes and the newer ways of changes happening across the globe, within 2030 everything will revolutionize as per
I'm going to agree with you. And in fact, I think it might happen earlier. And for those of you watching, you can go check the Payments Professor video on the predictions of what I think will happen by the end of next year, let alone 2028, 29, 30. It's coming. A lot of it's coming. Also, what's coming is the next episode of the Payments Professor. And if there's somebody you think that needs to be on the payments podium with me, or maybe a topic that you want to have discussed, all you got to do is send me an email, kevin@paymentsprofessor.com, or send me a message somewhere on many social media platforms, and I will do my best to make sure we get that person and that topic, or person on here and that topic addressed. But otherwise, this is the part where I get to say, class dismissed.
There's a world out there, it's a digital maze where dollars move in mysterious ways. Complex systems, rules, and regulations. The payments professor sparks revelations. No